Let's see. All right, guys, hold on. I'm coming. Yay! Normally, I have Joseph handling all that stuff behind the scenes for me, but I'm getting better at it.
Beautiful.
How are you, darling?
How you doing?
Welcome. Hold on, I have to give my signature bell. Let's give it a second. Let's give a nice, beautiful breath. We are at an odd time, which is lovely. The middle of our day and the end of yours.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know why we ding those bells, Seth?
No.
You know why?
No. Enlighten me. My lovely. Enlighten me.
We ding those bells because we are listening to the sound from the moment it starts until the moment that it ends. And many times we don't feel we have the time to listen. We're gonna rush it up. Come on, bell, finish dinging. That's how we know we're in the kind of the 3D time dimension of rushing. Oh my gosh, people are listening. What are they thinking? We're just sitting here listening to bells. Or we can shift into the spiritual dimension and take our time back, master our time, and allow those bells to teach us how to listen and allow them to ding as long as they need to, which grounds us in our sense awareness and pulls our energy into our bodies and less into our mind, which is thinking all the time.
Wow. Wow. That's proper. I love that. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love the way you sound. I could listen to you talk. I need to just give you, here, start reading. Just read. That's good. We'll just listen to you talk for the whole hour.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Accent is really lovely for us Americans.
And I like the American accent. You know what I mean? What did I tell you? Don't buy anything. Don't buy anything. No.
So tell me, it is 8 o'clock your time. Is it 8 o'clock your time, Seth?
8 o'clock, yeah, 8 o'clock p.m. 8 o'clock at night. What time is it where you are?
It is 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what do we call London time? I know Eastern Standard Time. I have Central Pacific. What is your time?
Well, they call it GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time.
GMT.
But when I'm GMT, yeah. But when I'm doing my shows, I never put that. I put UK time. Then people who don't know about GM time, they know what I mean. So I put UK time. But yeah, the right way is actually GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So
the right way is actually GMT. I think I can work on that. I think I can work on that. I love it. I feel like I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm talking to one of the movie stars or something.
My name's Michael Caine. Not a lot of people know that.
No, you sound like oh my god, who's that super sexy guy with the, he's always, oh my god, he's got muscles and he's bald, and I'm gonna find his name. You sound just like him. The transporter guy.
Jason Statham.
You sound just like him.
Oh, really? Thank you. But I can do all different kinds of accents, darling. I can even do the Queen's English if you'd like me to.
Oh my god, I love it. Or what's the other one? What's the other guy? It's Austin Powers, that guy. Austin Powers. You can do him too, I bet.
Yeah, I forgot his name now. But isn't he American? He's American, isn't he?
Well, he has a great English accent then if he is American.
Ruby, baby.
He's Shrek.
Yes.
He can do anything. Shrek, he's like 5 or 6 of those characters on that show. He's amazing.
Yeah. I forgot. Mike Myers, that's his name. Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
Yeah. I think he's American.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. He's good.
He
He's
is good.
good.
So
But
tell
our
me about
favorite,
your day.
my day today has been amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, I just got myself a wonderful agent from the UAE, from Dubai, and they're gonna market me in the UAE and in Asia to do talks and to do workshops about social behavior, human behavior, and addiction. And I'm going to Dubai in April, and the guest of honor is a certain Sheikh Maktoum, who is the owner of Dubai. He owns Dubai. He runs it, and
Wow.
it's going to be absolutely incredible. I I just feel so happy and so blessed that this is happening to me, man. Because it's like I just hope it happens and hope it continues, because it's been a wonderful year so far for me in terms of vocation, um, in terms of work, in terms of love, in terms of spirituality, in terms of everything, man. It's been great for me. So yeah, so that,
So that's wonderful. Congratulations. So you're going to Dubai to meet with the Sheikh. I
chic,
think
yeah,
Sheikh. The Sheikh. I know the Sheikh, right? I've heard that in the movies. The Sheikh.
yeah. But this guy's the biggest one out of all
Kind
of
of
them.
like the big deal. This is a big deal.
He's the big dog. He's the big dog of Dubai.
So are
He's
you
a
going to
proper.
be teaching him a workshop, or is he
No,
going
I,
to be witnessing you speaking, or
yeah, that's what he'll do. That's what he'll do. He's the guest of honor. So I think the chances of me getting close to him in terms of introduction are very, very slim, but I'll do my best. But yeah, I'll be talking and trying to educate uh, the Middle East about addiction, about trauma, about
yeah,
abuse.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's
use
why
my yeah,
all this is happening, is because this is exactly what the world needs right now. We need the healers, and you're a healer. So you're coming to heal us, and you're going to speak to so many people who can hear your message and understand and educate, on how
that's
to,
that's the
how to,
thing, and
yeah.
and it goes further because I've already been through the same agent. I'm going to the Philippines next November, and I am a guest of a very famous Filipino boxer. You may know him, you may not. His name's Manny Pacquiao. Um, I think his
I
own, yeah, I think his only loss in boxing was to Floyd Money Mayweather. So yeah,
Pacquiao and Mayweather. I remember that. I remember.
yeah, so well, he's the most famous person in the Philippines, and he's in the government. So I'm his guest, and I'm going to 3 islands: the island of Manila, the island of Cebu, and the island of Davao, where I'll be talking along the same topics, but also on the streets of Philippines to try and help crystal meth addicts and
Is
so
that
forth. So
is that going strong over there?
yeah, very strong, very strong. I mean, I'm a recovered meth addict myself as well, so I know a bit about crystal meth. I know a lot about cocaine, and I know a lot about alcohol. So through my personal experience and my my professional experience and my vocational and my studies and everything, I think I'm in a pretty good position to help people. This is what I do.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of times what I have found, because I've been there right there with you, I'm raised in South Florida. So I don't know if you've heard about us over there, but we are a lot of trouble over here. We are notorious. We're a party city. People all come
Yeah.
from all over the world to come to visit us and to get really messed up and to recover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I lost my best friend, not this April. Well, it was just maybe last year. I lost two best friends last year. Um, she started we were all getting into drugs when we were younger. We did not understand the repercussions back then it was kind of cool and trendy, and who cares? Let's try this and let's try that. Some of us made it out. Some of us didn't. Some of us had to scatter throughout the country. I have friends in Texas, friends in Colorado. She went to DC. Some went to South America, all trying to find an answer to recover. You know, and I remember driving her. We had partied for a solid week. I don't think we slept. And I said, whatever we do, we have to just get you on this plane. I don't know how we got her to Miami. It was an hour and a half of who knows what, but we managed to get her on the plane and get her to Miami. Her partner went to California, and my other girlfriend went to Texas. I think I went to North Carolina. And we all just tried to get away from it, you know. She ended up finding it down there, you know, and go figures. It was down in a third world country, but it wasn't quite that. It was some other stuff, you know. But I feel like when you have, you know, that mindset, because some of us were really fighting to get out of it, and others were just happy living in it. And
You know, yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, for me, right, it was I could find drugs anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. Do you know what I mean? I've been to every police cell in every country I've been to. It destroyed my life, Kristen. It really destroyed my life. And I'm so happy I found recovery and rehabilitation. You know what? Can I say a quote that I love talking about? And I quote Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mandela, but this one particular guy, it's a guy called Tupac Shakur. You may know him, one of the most famous rappers. That was, you know, he's dead now. He got shot, but he said a quote where he said that you got to make a change, right? It's time for us as people to start making some changes. Let's change the way we eat. Let's change the way we live. Let's change the way we treat each other. You see, the old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we got to do to survive. And I love that by Park when he said that, because he was a genius. You know, you don't have to be a rap fan to appreciate what he said there. But he was all about making a change. Now, for me, change is good if you can do it, but I've got to say something here, you know, because I have no regrets of my past. In fact, I look at my past and I look at it to see how it served me today. Because you know what, you know a bit about my story, man. I've been abused racially, physically, mentally, sexually from the ages of 11 all the way up until, well, for 7 years of my life. Sorry, 6 years of my life every day. And it was tough. And I found alcohol at such a young age. And I call it a brilliant strategy, just like TJ Woodward calls it. It's a brilliant strategy. Some people call it coping mechanism, but for me, it was an amazing strategy. And I took it to adult life. And so it was sort of like the abused becomes the abuser. Not that I abused in the same way I got abused, but in terms of getting involved in the gang lifestyle and getting a bit of power and having that IGS, I call it the imaginary gangster syndrome, and thinking I was a bad man, and driving the top cars and going to the top clubs. But then
I was in the passenger seat with you. I was
yeah,
right there.
Oh, you would look good as a passenger seat. You would look proper. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you'd be like that.
I was a troublemaker too. I was the one who had your back. I was the one who had the cops there going, "Oh my God, I'm going to give birth to my baby right now. Hide the cocaine." No, I was there. Yeah.
So you know.
And I don't regret it either, but I know the place I was in when I was living it. And it was, I mean, as unhealthy as one could be physically, mentally, and spiritually. Yeah, I call it what I call it is I see things in terms of energy. And I actually had a full, complete, not that I'm going to go into it, but I had a full mental breakdown. And after that, I had a mental breakdown. All of the addictions that I had and the pain and the trauma, and the abuse and the past and just the density of it, it broke. It literally broke. It was like my head exploded and it went away. And when it went away, what was left was so beautiful. It was so peaceful because that pain was gone. You know, that addiction, that clinging, that anything to make myself feel better, because inside of my own skin was crawling. Like I couldn't stand to be in this skin. And what I had found was my energy was so low. And so I was so concerned with helping that person and fixing that person. And I remember I saw a psychic once at 19 and she said, "You're just a black hole." And I could not believe she said that to me, because that's actually what I felt like, just this black hole. And when all of that somehow exploded out of my mind and I was left with this feeling of peace, that's when, you know, I heard this voice tell me, "Hey, figure out what's happened to you and then teach it." And so that's what I'm doing. And that's been my journey, is, okay, what happened? What was there before that is not there now? And, you know, a lot of it is the pain from our past, the traumas that we've been through, the words that people have spoken into our minds that we relive, you know, and we relive the traumas, especially when they were so hurtful. You know, we have these expectations of our parents and these expectations of the adults in our life, and the expectations of even our sisters and our friends when we're young. You know, we have them. And when they're not met, we get this, they don't love us, they don't care about us, we must be terrible people, let me grab a drink, let me do a line, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And it turns into this, you know. So what I like to do is, you know, I like to educate people like you're doing, and try to pull their energy up to a place where it's healthy, which, you know, it's a steps to get up there. And then about maintaining that energy so that they're not dropping below, because, you know, the moment that someone drops into even an irritation, a mild irritation, because someone maybe cut them off on the road and they feel just irritated. And then that irritation turns into a frustration. And then that frustration, they might take it out on the next driver. And then they're honking at each other. Now they're angry. Now, before you know it, they're violent and they feel terrible. And before you know it, they're going to pick up a vice, whatever that vice is, because there's lots of vices and they're all different. I might overeat. I might decide for alcohol. I might go for drugs, porn. I mean, whatever they are. So it's about maintaining your energetic health as if your life depends on it, which it actually does.
Most definitely. You know what? I've been everything I thought I knew about addiction was wrong, and we're sold this fantasy that there's chemical hooks in everything. We're talking about substance misuse in particular. I mean, my addiction was not just substance; it was behavioral as well, especially gambling and things like that. But what if underneath all addictive behavior is an essential self that is whole and perfect? And to be fair, that's what I'm experiencing now. I feel like the luckiest person alive. You know, today's my wedding anniversary. I feel alive, man. I'm so open. I'm so present today and so deeply connected with my essential truth. The love that I am and the love that I was. But it hasn't always been like that. You know, when I was 11 and I told you about the abuse that I was, you know, I was told I was ugly. I was told I wasn't very clever. And I quickly realized that based on the energy, that was not okay. That was not okay. And those experiences, along with thousands of experiences, Kristen, loads I could name, created not only this wall in front of me, but a belief in my own brokenness. So I walked around at the age of 11 feeling disconnected, feeling broken, and feeling like there was something fundamentally wrong with me, and not just me, with the whole world. And I got relief from that, and that was alcohol and drugs. And that was my strategy. And I remember drinking that first bottle of vodka. It was like I felt alive again. It brought so much relief. from all that psychic pain. It really did. But you know what? It's not like that today. I just feel so grateful, and I'm full of gratitude today, being here with you. I've when I first met you, when I first saw you, I thought, yeah, man, this you know, you've got it going on. You got something that. I mean, I remember when you did my cards that first time you did my cards. It was so inspiring to hear what you saw and what you did say. Well, I took it on board, and things have developed. Things have developed that what you saw in those cards and what I had to let go. I think it was guilt and shame. And since I've dissolved a bit of guilt and shame, in fact, I've dissolved all of it. I've experienced self-worth. I've got self-worth that I never had, and that's a profound experience because since I've received self-worth, since I've got self-worth, the things that have happened to me, I couldn't even begin to tell you. And with you and I see a commonality. I see a commonality. I mean, you know, whether we're talking about racism, gender inequality, homelessness, domestic violence, human trafficking, drug trafficking, addiction, health, whatever we're talking about a fight against injustice. And I think as humans, as humanity, if we work as a collective and we work in communion, that's when we're at our best. And it's so beautiful having you part of this wonderful platform that we all belong to, Spirituality Gone Wild, and it's so happy to be both of us to be part of the same thing, and I love that. I love that about us. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Saf, for being here. I know that when you came on and you started talking, I'm like, oh, I feel that energetic alignment, you know, that energetic match. Because after I had my little, you know, thing, all I saw was energy. All I still see is energy and vibrations. So when you said, you know, we're all battling injustice, you know where it stems from? The roots of all of this is right here. It's our beliefs that we're holding on so tight about. Those people are wrong and those people are right. And they should be doing that and they should not be doing that. That's good over there. That's good. So we like that because that's good. So I'm going to be kind to good. And I'm going to be compassionate to good and service. And I'm going to lend a hand. Oh, but they're bad. So you know what? I'm going to give them nothing. I'm going to give them a cold shoulder. And I don't really care what happens to those people. That's in here. That's what's happening. This is separation. And it's stemming from our society, you know, has developed in this way. But, you know, if we could try to, you know, get to some of the younger people, try to implement, you know, some of these, you know, compassion and acceptance and forgiveness in the minds of the children earlier, you know, we might be able to soften some of these rigid belief systems that keep us so separated. You know, because there's even so many people that I've heard, oh, well, he died, that's sad, and he was a drug addict. So, you know, when did that happen? How did that happen? How did we become a people who could say, oh, well, he does drugs, so, you know, let him make that choice and let him move on, versus us looking at him as that's an extension of our earth. That's a manifestation of our world. That's a creation of what we are doing as a people, as a species. That is a part of our species. And the human species is struggling right now mentally because we're getting all of this in our minds and we're not, it's like our mind is a computer and it's really in need of a software upgrade. Do you have DVRs over there, Saf? Like DVRs that record TV shows over there in the UK?
DVR?
It's called a DVR.
What's that stand for?
It records TV shows over there. No.
We have the Sky Q box which records everything. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, does that Sky Q box? Okay, so our DVRs over here. When we watch a show, it all of a sudden will say, "Hey, guess what? you've watched this show, and now here's 4 other shows that are like that show, and we're going to record them all for you because we think you'd like them. Right? Does your Skybox do that?
Yeah, it does everything like that. Yeah.
All right, cool. So now let's imagine that Skybox is your mind, right? And what's happening is you've recorded this experience of, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do this drugs. And then your mind's like, oh yeah, that felt good. Hey, why don't we try this one? Why don't we try that one? Why don't we try this one? Let's go try that. Oh, hey, you did that bad thing over there. Let's go try this bad thing over here. And so our mind, which is just like a DVR, has started to record because you told it to, you gave it, you said, hey, I like that show. So now it's starting to it's doing exactly what you told it to do. And if we're all running around, and that's the same thing with food, and it's the same thing with porn. It's like, oh my God, that pizza was so good. I bet that cake would be so good. And oh, the Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, and I just want to eat and eat and eat. It's because we've recorded these pleasure situations in our mind, and our mind is running without a remote control. I don't know where it went. We need to figure out this stuff. We need to get a remote control for the mind. So we need to be aware of this. And our mind is not in control of us, which many of us, without proper education and training, believe that our mind is in control of us, versus our mind being a tool that our energy and that our spirit can control with proper training. And I'm going to say it takes proper training. And you've heard this training of the mind and whatnot. Because a lot of times, even when you said change, I know what everyone asks. Great, but how? How do they stop? They hear you. They know they should stop. They know they don't want to do this anymore. But guess what happens? And that DVR clicks on and says, what? No, you do. Come on. That was so fun the last time. Let's replay that show. Didn't you enjoy that? Come on, let's do it again. Because you've trained that Skybox to pull that on for you. Right? If we know that our mind does that, we can be aware of it. So I kind of like to say, okay, if my computer needed an upgrade, I imagine those shows and I imagine those thoughts when they pop up like an ad. We know when it pops up and it says, hi, sign up here. And you're like, no, thank you. And then another ad pops up and it's like, hey, try this. This is going to be fun. You're going to love it. And you're like, no, I'm going to X out that one too. Or the pop-up ad that says, oh, you're so terrible. No one wants to hear anything you have to say. Oh my God, I don't want that. X that one out too. So I use that a lot because all the time our mind is in this society constantly, and all these thoughts are constantly rolling into our head. And we need to be hyper vigilant and present, very present. In the present moment is where we capture these. The moment that we've lost the present moment, we've opened up and hit play on our Skybox, and it's just flipping through the channels like, hey, what kind of thing you want to get into now? Yeah.
I think when it comes to, because I've, especially in recovery, or shall I say the new way of life, I've studied a lot of different modalities, right? And obviously Gabor says it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. But it's all good saying that, but how do you get through the pain? Yeah. And I got through the pain through drinking drugs and the whole the whole toxicity. Hence, I call it a brilliant strategy, just like TJ does. But then you've got to ask yourself the question: is do we have to change? Why do we have to change? Because you know what, there was a time, because I come from two different schools of thought. There was a time when I used to look back and used to work through the reasons why I did what I did. Now I work to make progression as opposed to going back to that. You go to some of the fellowships, the 12-step programs, they still say, they introduce their name and they go, yeah, hi, my name's Saf and I'm an addict, or my name's Saf and I'm an alcoholic. Why are we labeling ourselves right now as that? How are you supposed to move on? How are you supposed to move on if you're still going to call yourself that? And they still do that. I'm not against it because the 12 steps was a big part of my early recovery.
Absolutely.
I just want to put things in addition to the 12 steps. And it's all about disconnection. It's all about disconnection. All these people who perceive that there's chemical hooks in every drugs and everything and all that get you addictive. I'd have to say no. Otherwise, we'd all be addicts, right? You have a drink, you'll be an alcoholic for the rest of your life. It's not the case with most people. It's about us. It's about why what is missing in our life that's turning us into doing that? What is missing for us to drink excessively, to take drugs excessively? And that's what we're trying to find out. But I work with what's happening now. The other thing I work with a lot of people is having a two-sided perception. We've been sold this fantasy to lead a one-sided world. When you're looking at the positives, we choose to ignore the negatives. I'm not a hoo-ha speaker, and I've got nothing against the likes of Tony Robbins and people like that. I think they do a phenomenal job. But they're all about positive, 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 positive. That's cool. But don't not acknowledge the negative, because where there's a positive, there's a drawback. And believe it or not, where there's negatives, there's benefits. Let's look at both sides and bring them to an equilibrium. Let's bring it to here, and only then we have a chance of having a fulfilled life. Only then.
Saf, did you know that that's exactly what the yin and yang mean?
Yeah, man. And I call it the law of duality.
It is. And exactly what you just said is exactly what I heard in a vision, because I tried to get rid of my darkness too. I was like, oh, I'm a light worker and a healer and an empath. So that means I should have no more darkness ever again. And yet it was still there. And it was always still there. That little draw, that little pull, that little, hey, naughty girl, that all is still there, you know? And finally I realized, oh, I can never get rid of it. And it's okay. I actually have to love it and love it. Now that doesn't mean I need to go do everything it's telling me to do, because when you love it, when you're like, hey, what's going on right now, little dark girl, the little one with the dark hair and the little, how are you feeling? What's going on? And usually I can trace it back to me being either tired, maybe stressed out with something, a little busy, my energy is low, and I'm feeling low. And when I feel low now, instead of me running to find a reason to feel better or to make myself feel better, now I love and I embrace my darkness, and I live in it, and I'm okay with it. And I say, well, maybe let's take a bubble bath, or, let's go take a walk. If you don't want to go to the gym.
Did you say bubble bath? Did you say bubble bath? You're having a bubble bath. You know what that means in England?
What?
It's a Cockney slang, yeah? So if I go to, yo, Kristen, you're having a bubble bath, that means you're having a laugh.
Really?
Laugh. Yeah. And if I say, Kristen, you ain't got a Scooby, that means you ain't got a clue. Scooby-Doo clue.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, well, over here it's bubbles and warm candles and nice music, warm water, Epsom salt. So, right, replacing picking up the alcohol with bubble baths, or reading a book or listening to music. But Saf, when we say that, that's someone who's really gone through, and they're almost kind of at the other side of things when they're able to be open to some of these other suggestions. I tried so hard with my girlfriend Carmen. I tried everything that I had. Every book, every church, I couldn't reach her. I don't know. Saf, that I bought handcuffs. And I was going to go handcuff her to me and just drive her back home and chain her up in my room and say, let's just work this out. And then to be like, that's illegal. I'm like, well, so arrest me. But and I was there at the airport, and I said, just call me and I'll come and get you. I can't tell you how many times I said, call me and I'll come and get you. And I kept my phone number the same for so long because it was the only number that she knew, and I mean, she got pregnant, and I couldn't get her any help anywhere, but I finally, because she was pregnant, I was able to get her a bed, and she was going to be able to stay there and raise her baby, there. And again, I'm at the airport. I have a ticket. I'm coming to get you. And I don't hear from her. And this went on obviously she just passed last year, and like, we were friends since we were 11. So, and she got really bad, I would say 2019, 20. And this went all the way up until she was 39. She just passed. I don't think she made it. I would say she would have been 38. She did have the baby, and the baby is a spitting image of her. And she was able to stay clean for a few months. She spent, every time I would talk to her for those little bit of months, she was in a meeting. And I was so proud of her. But she, first of all, I couldn't get her any help, Saf. So that's a big thing. I could not get her into a place that would help her. And I said to her, please just stay in jail. Just stay in jail, please. And tell them that you can't leave. No one would help her, Saf. She couldn't find a bed. She couldn't find a home. And it was thousands and thousands of dollars to get her into any place. And what have you seen with that? Have you seen that there's actual help? Because I've seen so many people just signing away these, like they just sign them off. They can't be helped. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, I think the first thing is acknowledgement. Okay, until the person can admit or acknowledge that there's a little bit of a problem here, and I need to try and stop this. Until that first thing, and it's actually the step one in the 12 steps as well, to admit that you got a problem. Until you can admit that, or until you can recognize it or get out of that denial state, there's nothing anyone else can do. Absolutely nothing. Because if you don't believe that there's a problem, if you don't believe that taking drugs, doing alcohol, gambling, or whatever the addiction, sex, whatever, is causing harm to yourself and others, or it may kill you, or whatever it is, until you can't see that, then it doesn't matter what helps out there. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I have clients who go, come back, go, come back, go, come back. But there's only so much that I can do. They can show all the will in the world, but unless they're serious about getting better, unless they're serious about doing the work, whatever the work is, any modality, whatever they choose to do, whether they do all of them or one, because there is support out there. There is support out there. There is love out there. There are people who are like-minded, like yourself, who have come the other side, like myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I died. Yeah, I've been flatlined once. I've overdosed 3 times. I've had my stomach pumped twice.
Yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah, man. So there is a way out. I mean, people say you got to hit rock bottom sometimes to get to where you are, where I am. That wasn't my story, because if that had been the case, I would have come into recovery from the day I was born. But I was just done. I was broken, man. I was broken. I was just done. And I remember when my family took me to rehab, even then I wasn't looking to get better. I wasn't looking to make the change. But I remember when I got into that room and I spoke to my key worker, I just broke down for like 20 minutes. And that was the moment. That was the moment when my life changed forever. But it's taken a lot of work, a lot of reading, a lot of research, and helping others. Helping others has actually helped me, which is great.
That's what I do too, because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me centered. It allows me to be involved in compassion and forgiveness and acceptance and all of these high vibrational energies that so as long as I stay above a certain line of energy, and this is going into the metaphysical realm, but we are metaphysical beings. So as long as I can stay above this line, then I'm okay. Asaf, even if my toe is dipped below here, I go very, very quickly. I spiral down very quickly, very fast, but I recognize it now. And I say, okay, wait a minute. I know what I've done. I've neglected my energetic health, my spiritual health. And I have the tools now I have to step out of it. And it's steps. I can't just jump out of it. I have to step out of it. So I can't just go from that place to gratitude, because sometimes I feel like there's nothing to be thankful for. When I get to a place where there is nothing to be thankful for, I'm in a full energetic shitstorm. So for lack of a better human word, you know, and that low energy is all around me, and it makes me want to do all sorts of like unhealthy, and I'm calling them unhealthy because they're not bad. You're not bad for doing the things that happen to you when you're in this low energetic state. The experiences that you have when you're in this low energetic state are a manifestation of that energy. So when you're in this low state, that's when you want to gamble. That's when you want to drink. That's when you want to do drugs. But if you can pull yourself out of it slowly, and I do have some tools that help, but there's lots of other tools that help. And you step out of it, you can manage to get yourself back out here. But it's an every moment to moment monitoring my energy. So my existence is in moments, not in time, not in days, not in the things. And here's another thing, Saf, is I do not hold any past in my energy at all. So even earlier today, whatever happened earlier today, I don't hold it in my energy any longer. After I had that little breakdown, I don't keep that energy anymore because I don't even go back. Even if I said something, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? And I catch myself going back a few times to relive it. That'll drop my energy every time. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Oh, why would you have said that? Or you're not smart, or whatever my mind decides to nonsense spew at me. All those little words are bringing me lower and lower and lower and lower. And now I'm tired. Now I don't feel good. And now I want to drink. That's what happens. You know, so
100%, man. I mean, like I tell my clients, man, it's stop being victims of your past and start being masters of your destiny. And the only way you can do that is by living in the present moment, living what's happening now. You can't, you know what? You can't change what's happened in the past, and you can't really. Well, I can't predict what's happening in the future. But what I do have a bit of what I do have a bit of control over is what I'm doing right now, and it's about. You can only master what's going to happen or what's happening right now. It's now.
No. That
is the
cure. Stop. Listen, I'm going to just say it. That is the cure for addiction. I promise you that if we can teach the world, Saf, how to live in the now and really master the now, that past is gone. They're not worried about their future because we can always live. We can always handle what's happening right now. Right now, Saf, there is a table. I'm at a table. I have a piece of paper and a pen. I have a light on me. There's a bird making some noise right there. I can see your face. And right now, I don't have one problem. Not right now at all. Not one problem. Now, I'm not talking 5 minutes from now. I'm not talking what's happened over there, but right now, do you have any problems right now?
No, man. The problem I have a great problem because I'm talking to you. That's the great problem to have.
So if we can teach them, and you're about to make it out there. So we need to teach the power of now to everyone who will listen and never stop until the whole world knows about it and knows how to live it, because it's more than, yes, we hear the power of now, but what is it and how? How do we live presently? And how, you know, and you learning how you keep your presence and then teaching others, and how I keep my present moment awareness and teaching others. Because inside of the present moment, addictions can't live here. They don't live here.
No, they don't. And the hardest thing is teaching and educating people about the now and how to be master of your destiny is beautiful when you're there, because we're in a safe place right now. But once I'm not there or you're not there, that's when the real work starts. So it's important when we teach them the right tools, but they're going to have to want to do it. That's the hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? They're going to have to want to work it. I mean, I believe we're all working a program. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us are working a conscious program, some of us are not working a conscious program, but we all work in a program. Our mind has always been programmed in such a way, the way our society was, the way we've been brought up, the way things have happened in our lives. We're always working a program. Some are not conscious. And I'm also working things on a cellular level. Do you know about the cellular level side of things?
Well, I vibrationally know about the cellular level, but and everything is energy and vibrations to me. So for me, my cells, when I vibrate into this, I know I'm going a little metaphysical, but in the power of now, that it's a 5D dimension, and my cells rejuvenate themselves. They actually vibrate and they heal, and they heal each other. So sickness can't live in my body anymore. I vibrate at a different vibration pattern when I'm doing my practices. But you know, it's what's the word? It's a simple thing to understand, but it's the hardest thing people will ever have to do, because the moment they leave us, and they're walking, and the moment they have their keys, they have to understand that they're still in momentary existence. So what's happening? They get in their car, and boom, it's gone. If you're not training yourself to say, wait a minute, you know, that's a whole big shift. We shift. We have to learn how to shift back into presence, and it's like, it's every 3 moments we have to shift back. All right, tell me about yourselves. I didn't mean to go off.
No, that was, and you're so right, because right now this is a safe place, right? This is safe, and if I was your client or you're my client, this is safe. But once we come off this call, it's not as safe anymore, and that's the hard work. How do we? And this is my thing about people going to prison as well, because I used to work in the prison service. In some way, the prison's safe, but it's not really, because you can get drugs in prisons all the time. But once they're out of that environment, they're back in. They're back in society. Once you're out of rehab's a safe place. Once you're out, what is there in place after the rehabilitation, after the institutions? What is there? What do we have in place to help people? There's not a lot out there, and that's why there's relapses and people who commit crimes again and again and again, and that's why you see people going back and forth to jail. What is there? And that's the secret. That's where we need to. That's where we need to be there for people. For the youth.
You know, another thing too, Saf, that I learned, I didn't know this before, but again, as I shifted into everything being energy, and my energy was so clear and pure and healthy, that when I would be exposed to someone's energy that was in a lower energetic state, I felt how very easily that energy came into my system. So what we don't realize is, while you're in our energy, we're feeling amazing. But the moment you walk outside there is energetic streams everywhere. And again, I'm going into metaphysical, but it's important to know in physics, if you were to study physics, they are proving all of this right now. So if even again, you're at a Starbucks and you're doing so good, but that lady who's taking your coffee is rude, obnoxious, messes your order up. If you are not aware that energy can shoot right into you and tank your energy, and it happens, and then you walk outside, you're a ticking time bomb, and it's everywhere. So that's the moment, yes, they walk out, they're exposed to the old family, to friends, and all of that old stale energy, that lower energy that's unhealthy for them. It's coming right into all of their systems and messing with their head. And it was interesting, because some of the thoughts that were even coming through my mind were not even my own thoughts. And I was like, wait a minute, a second ago, I was feeling like amazing. I know that I'm centered. I know that I'm feeling healthy. And that was when I said, where are these thoughts coming from? And the girl next to me burst into tears and started crying. And I realized how energetically connected that we are. And how if we were to take the metaphysics woo-woo out of it and speak about it from a physics perspective or scientific perspective, in a few years, this is all going to be very, common sense. And we could teach people to be aware of that energy shift inside of them so that they can monitor how they're feeling at all times. And if they're not feeling healthy, they need to stop, remove themselves from the situation, and immediately clear that energy, do whatever program or steps they're working on to clear that energy from their system and pull their energy back up, do their meditations or their programs or their whatever it is that they're holding on to, and then reemerge back into, you know, society. Because the reality is, you know, and I'm just going to say it, your jobs are not as important as your energetic health. Your partners are not, your children, my energetic health is more important than my kids, because if I'm walking around sharing misery and pain and anger and frustration because I'm not spiritually, energetically taking care of myself, I am just infecting and affecting not only them, but everyone that they come in contact with. So my energetic health is the only thing that matters to me and my highest priority in my life. And what I would like to share is everyone else's life, you know, so that we're not spreading this to others. We're not spreading these lower energies and shooting them into people, because maybe I have the tools to pull myself out of it, but the person that I just shot that into doesn't, and they're going to shoot up or drink a bottle of wine because or beat their dog. I mean, we don't know what manifestations come out because everyone's lower vibrational state has a different effect, consequence, manifestation.
It's all about the oxygen mask, isn't it? Put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on someone else. If you can't look after yourself, and if you can't breathe yourself, or if you can't, how are you going to look after anyone else? You know, like when you're on the plane.
Absolutely.
You put the oxygen mask on yourself first before your children.
Absolutely.
There's a reason for that.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, you know, like you said, what you're doing right now, it's allowing your energy to stay high and healing, and you're sharing this message. This is what I'm doing. The past few years, I got away from this, and boy, was I in a low. I was just a mess because I wasn't healing and sharing this energy. So something I've found that helps is teaching them how to teach others, which I'm sure somewhere in your programs you understand that, but teaching them, like, look, you've learned these steps, you've done amazing. Instead of you commiserating with them, see if you can't step above and be that helping hand and share what you've learned. Because even now, as a teacher, the teacher and the student together make the learning and create the healing, you know. And that's how I keep in shape energetically.
I'm learning every day, and I'm learning from you today, and I learn from everyone. I learn from my clients. I learn from people on the street. Every day I'm learning, and every day I'm using these experiences, because you know what, Kristen, how can someone move on when you've experienced some real serious trauma, right? And that's the question that I get on a regular basis from people. And then sometimes I might share my story to them. And I've been abused in a real serious way. But what's got me forward is, one, acceptance. That's the answer to all my problems. And I've actually forgiven the perpetrators, because until I did that, until I seen how it served me today, I can't move on. Do you know what I mean? I can't move on. I can't live a life of inspiration or fulfillment. I've had to look at the benefits of that negativity. How, as someone doing what they did to me for 6 years of my life, not someone, people, how has that served me today? And it served me by sharing my message and giving a message of hope. It served me at the time by learning through what I was going through. I mean, I was young, man. I was young. But and we're not saying it makes it right or wrong. It was very wrong. It was very wrong. I mean, nobody should go through what they go through if it's traumatic, like many people go through. But it's important that we accept. It's important that we see how it's serving us today. It's important we see the benefits of all this, and it works the other way around as well. Yeah. people live in a one-sided world. We've got to look at both sides. There's two sides to every coin. There's a flip side to that coin. Until we look at the both sides and we embrace both sides. And one thing I do want to say is about, I know you talk a lot about expectations and stuff like that. We shouldn't have any expectations. We should never put anyone on a pedestal, and we should never put anyone on a pit. We should put them in our hearts. Number one. Number two, we should never try to live up to anyone else's values, and we should never expect anyone to live up to our values. We should bring them to an equilibrium.
Absolutely. Well, Saf, I know we're about 5 minutes to the end. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your show? And, you know, I know you have a men's show, and tell me a little bit about how people can get a hold of you. And
yeah, well, I do quite a few shows at the moment. Obviously, I do 2 shows on Spirituality Gone Wild. Got a show tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure what time it is anywhere else. It's called Universal Recovery. It's myself and Serenity Sam. I'm Serenity Saf, and we just bring the fun into addiction in a respectful way. And it's a great show. We have a great laugh, but we try and educate people in addiction. I have my show on Thursday nights, which I like to have you on in the new year if you're ever able to be. It's called Inspirational People, Inspirational Stories, and it's basically I have a discussion with people who have inspired in some way, who are inspirations in their own field. But my biggest show is on Sky TV, and Sky TV is one of the biggest broadcasting channels in Europe, and it's part of a Feel Good Factor TV. I'm produced by Rocco Buonvino, who's a massive producer who's produced the likes of Al Pacino, Charlie Sheen, Schwarzenegger, Stallone. This guy is huge, and he produces me, which is so wonderful. My show is called Men's Talk, and I'm a lead host there, and we just 3 men talking about different issues, and it's great. But the whole channel is great as well, and that's on Sky TV in the UK. And that's my show. If you want to see me, just put Saf Buxy on Google, and all my details will come up, or safbuxy.com, or find me on Facebook. If I can be of value to you, of service to you, I would love to.
thank you. Now, Saf, I have a question for some people who are looking for some guidance. Or do you take on clients? Do you work? Do you coach? Do you help? Or do people have access to you on a one-on-one basis?
Yeah, they do. I work globally. I work quite a lot of clients in California, South Africa, of course, the UK. I've got clients in Turkey. So yeah, I do work. My private work is mainly social behavior and human behavioral work. And I've got my own method called Saf Buxy method. Bit original, I know.
No, I love it. I love it. I want to hear about your method. I have mine too, and it's so important. That's how it works for you. And I have mine. This is how it works for me. That's all we can do is say, hey guys, this is what works for us. Hopefully some of it will.
Yeah. So I have one-to-one clients. I do workshops in the corporate world as well. I do workshops with everyone, and I do a lot of my talks. So everything's on my website, safbuxy.com. And if you're interested, just link me up. Holler at me, and I'll be there.
All right, awesome, Saf. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know there's a couple people who would like to talk and they need a little bit of help, but I know on this show I wasn't really bringing on too many people. But how do you feel about that? Do you want to bring someone on?
Yeah, anyone, man. Anyone could come on. That's fine.
All right, guys. All right, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on, okay? You said I really need your help, so let's see what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Joe. Hiya.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for letting me on the show, by the way.
How can I help you?
Well, I struggle with alcohol.
Oh, Joe's gone. Maybe he had a bad line.
Daniel, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Daniel.
Hi there. Great show. Both of you really inspiring, and yeah, I'll definitely check your channel out. Both of your channels is really good to listen.
Oh,
What on earth is happening?
I think it's got to be the connection because he was really. They were both really going to ask me something. If you can, yeah, no, it doesn't matter if you can hear me, guys. I mean, that's the way the universe works, right?
I know. All right. Well, so we have alcohol first, and then I think Joe, let's see, said up here, someone said I'm 400 pounds. So we have a sex addiction. I mean, I know how these go. We understand, you know? We understand.
Well, this is just me now, guys. So we've lost the host, but I can obviously continue. Joe, Dan, anyone who wants to get in touch with me, please find me on safbuxy.com, or you can even email me on info@safbuxy.com. You can come to my Facebook page, Saf Buxy, or my main group, which is Saf Buxy Limited. And excuse me 1 minute. Let's have a look. I think Kristen's calling me. Hey, how you doing? We're still on at the moment.
Oh, I am calling you. Hi.
Yeah.
I don't even have the broadcast on my
Oh
computer anymore.
well, I've continued the broadcast and people are still listening to me. So I've continued your show.
Perfect. You go fine. I'll see if I can't click in. You do your thing. I'm going to see if I can click in. Go ahead.
Okay, see you in a bit. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, so that was Kristen. But yeah, guys, please hook me up. I mean, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. And we've got to work through that. But it's all about now. And I'm not someone who ignores the past or someone who tries to not even talk about it. I think it's important. I think it's important to look at the past, and I think it's important to see how it served us today. Hi, Joe. Let me see if I can get you back on. Hi, Joe.
Sorry there, I got a bit nervous.
That's okay, mate. That's okay. Look, you know what?
Sorry about that.
It's just you and I now. So
Okay.
please fire away.
Yeah, well, it were a couple of years back. Struggle with alcoholism and sex addiction, and yeah, we just sort of started from there. But I'm on a rehabilitation thing now. Yeah, I'm just wondering if anyone else had stories which are similar, the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a very, very similar story as well. I mean, I think the beauty of what I do today is I've been there, I've done it, and I've come out the other side. And I've also, since coming in recovery, since coming out the other side, I've now done a lot of reading, a lot of research, and helped a lot of people in different walks of life. So I can totally relate to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
And you know what, if I knew then what I know now, things would have been different. And with the work that I do, I do a lot of human behavioral work, and I do a lot of work with addicts as well, not just in the prison service, but in the community. I have my own radio show. I have my own talk show. Please hook me up, Joe. But
that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, you're from England?
Yeah.
You're from the Midlands?
How do you know?
I can tell from the accent.
Oh, wow.
I'm a Londoner, right? I'm a Londoner, but I live in Kent now, so I can tell from the accent.
Oh,
so
wow.
Please hook me up, man. Check me up.
That'd be
Safbuxy.com. And you know, just give me an email or give me an inquiry, and I'll see if I can help you. It'd be a pleasure.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it would be great if you did a couple more of these, live streams, getting a few people on, hearing their stories, because I know through the whole COVID thing, you can't obviously sit around and speak together, but it'd be nice.
Definitely. Look, I've got my show tomorrow night on Facebook. Add me on Facebook. But the show's called Universal Recovery. We bring a bit of fun and a bit of happiness to addiction, even though there's a serious side to it as well.
Yeah.
So you might enjoy it as well. It's called Universal Recovery. It's 6 p.m. UK time, live on YouTube and live on Facebook. Hook me up on Facebook, Saf Buxy, and you can have access to everything I do. All right.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Joe. I'm going to bring. Hi, Joe. This is Kristen, Joe. We just lost Daniel again. He was there a minute ago.
Well, let's take me off then and see if we can't.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to remove. Yeah. So, yeah, well, so Kristen's gone. But, yeah, Joe.
Someone else going to try to come in?
Sorry?
Someone else going to try and come in?
No, well, when I mean, they were there and they've gone again. So if they do come again,
Yeah.
I'll add them on, and maybe we could chat later. But at the moment they're not here. But
What?
Joe, you know what it is. One thing that I learned is people have looked at addicts in a way like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
What they're doing is
Label.
bad. Yeah, they label them in as some kind of bad person, and it's not about that. It's the question we've got to ask ourselves, or the question I ask people is, what is missing? What is missing in their life for them to turn to alcohol and drugs or any behavioral addiction? What was missing in my life for me to drink alcohol, for me to take copious amounts of cocaine, for me to be a crystal meth addict, for me to be a gambler, for me to indulge in things that would be perceived as seeing bad. Now, I don't see anything that I did as bad. I see it as a brilliant, fantastic strategy at that time. People call it coping mechanisms. I call it a brilliant strategy. Now, the strategy that I used is what I've just mentioned, is maybe what you are using or have used, had many consequences with it. They caused a lot of destruction, not just to
Yeah.
myself, to everyone around me. But the question is that why did we, or why do we use what we did? Why do we do what we do? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. Once we can ascertain the answer to that, only then we have a chance to move on. But only then we can only move on if we admit that what we've done or what we do is a problem to us. We have to accept it first. What's step one in the 12 steps? I'm not saying do 12 steps. I'm not saying don't disregard it. I think that, I think it works. It works for some people. It doesn't
Yeah.
work for some people. But I think the important thing is that we acknowledge and we don't regret what we've done. Because if we keep on regretting and keep on having this guilt and shame, we'll always come back to that. And there's every chance that if we are abstinent, we'll relapse. We can't regret what we've done. We have to use it, accept it, and see how it's serving us today in our lives today. That's the only way. People try and hide away from, when I was a drunk or when I was an addict, I robbed people, I upset my wife, I destroyed my family, I did this, I did that, I went to jail. We can't hold on to that guilt and shame. Otherwise, we'll never be able to move on. We will stay in that rut, Joe. We will stay in that rut. Let's acknowledge that. Let's accept that. And let's see how it served us today for us to
Definitely.
move on. There's
Definitely.
two sides to everything. There's a benefit to all the negatives and there's a drawback to all the positives. I know people out there who've won the lottery and they want to stay in that level. They've got a new job. They don't want to look at the drawback because they want to stay in that high. This is called the dopamine rush. We are governed by this dopamine rush. We are governed by society. We are governed by people out there who say, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to be here. We've got to look at both sides. Until we can look at both sides, the yin and yang, the law of duality, there's no predator without a prey. There's no prey without a predator. There's no good without bad. There's no bad without good. We have to embrace both sides. Only then we can live a fulfilling life, an inspired life.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right. So, Joe, do not beat yourself up about anything.
No.
Whatever you do or whatever you've done, you've used it as a strategy at that moment in time. What we have to try and do is find a different strategy. We can work through the past, if that's what you want. But let's look at the now. Let's see how we can control what we're doing now. We can't change the past. We can't predict the future. We can only work with us today, right now. You and I are here right now. Look at it. This is safe. It's what happens once you come off this call. That's when the work starts, if you want it. But the first thing is that you've acknowledged there's a problem. You want to make a change, but do not regret what you've done and do not live in guilt or shame. Because once you start doing that, you'll never be able to move on. And I know it's easier said than done because I've caused a lot of destruction. I robbed my own wife, Joe. I robbed my own wife of all her jewelry and I sold it for 10,000. She must have about 35, 40,000 pounds worth of jewelry. I sold it for 10 grand, to get my fix on crystal meth and cocaine and to go out for the night and do what I did. I held on to that guilt and shame for years. I recently dissolved that guilt and shame. Once I dissolved that guilt and shame, I got self-worth. Once you have self-worth, Once you start loving yourself, I promise you it's the most profound experience ever. And then we see how that moment served us today. You might ask yourself, how can that serve me? And how can that serve my wife? I'll tell you how it served my wife. And it doesn't make it right or wrong, me stealing her jewelry and selling it for 10 grand. The way it served her is that she built a relationship with her father, which she may never have built otherwise. That's the way I've looked at it. It served her by building a relationship with her father, having a bond that may never have happened if I didn't do what I did. Not saying that what I did was right. It was very wrong. But this is how it served. It served her that they never speak with each other on the level they speak. She had to turn to someone to get support because her husband robbed her of her jewelry. Yeah. I was living with that guilt and shame for years. Right, I dissolved that because I saw how it served her and how it served me today. And the way it served me today is that I'm speaking with people like you to let you know that you are not bad. You are not bad. Do not live in regret and do not live in guilt or shame. Let's look at the future. Let's see how it served us today, and let's see how we can move forward together and how we can make a change and how we can help the world out there.
That's true.
All right,
Thank
Joe.
you very much.
Got my details. I'm going to bring Daniel on. So thank you very much, Joe. And link me up, man. Hook me up. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Cheers, bud. Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Oh yeah, it's just you and I now.
Right.
Me.
Okay.
We lost you. What can I do for you, sir?
No, I just wanted to say I actually just wanted to come on and say what an absolute inspiration the pair of you are for doing what you do, really. And I know you're only telling your own story, but it helps a lot of people.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. And I also detect an English accent from you as well.
Yes, yeah.
Are you from the Midlands as well?
No, I'm from the north.
Whereabouts of the north are you from?
Well, I used to originally from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
But, then I moved to Lancashire.
Wow, I'll tell you a little story very quickly. I was born in Bradford, in Yorkshire, but as soon as I was born, I was adopted at birth by a family from London. So I've been brought up in London all my life, and now I live in Kent. And for me, that was probably my first real trauma.
Right.
Dr. Gabor Mate says, you know what? And I said it earlier, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. Abandonment was a big part of my story. I was 2.5 months premature and I was abandoned at birth.
Wow.
Okay. And straight away I was put into an incubator. So that was my second surrounding. And then I was abandoned from that surrounding and I was adopted by two lovely parents, but there was no maternal or paternal bond. And it can affect someone at such a young age. And then I went to boarding school.
Of course.
And that was my third abandonment, Daniel. That was my third abandonment. And then going to boarding school at the age of 11, I was abused for 6 years of my life on a daily basis in the British schooling system. And that's why I turned to alcohol and drugs, and I took that all the way to my adult life. And I was an addict, or I was involved in active addiction for 33 years. Thankfully, I came out of it alive. So my addiction was everything really, but the main was alcohol, cocaine and crystal meth, and gambling, and loads of other behavioral addictions as well. Can you relate to any of that? Is there something that you can resonate with?
Certainly. I can. For me, it was for many years alcohol, and one that was probably the main one. But as you say as well, gambling, impulsive, and that went on for many years. And I'm getting it back together now. But I just saw the YouTube channel and just thought, wow, people telling stories, and I think it's great.
No, brilliant. Well, look, Daniel, please feel free to hook me up anytime. My website's safbuxy.com. I have a show tomorrow night at 6 p.m. UK time called
Just write that down. What is that? Is it safbuxy.com?
Yeah, if you see my name, yes, exactly. It says my name, safbuxy.com. You can contact me that way. I've got a show tomorrow night on Facebook and YouTube. Please hook me up on Facebook as well, and I'll gladly accept your friendship. And then I can, you can see all the stuff that I do. Do you have access to Sky TV at all?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm on Sky TV every Saturday morning and Sunday morning
Wow.
on Sky Channel 191 Showcase. It's the whole channel starts from 7 a.m. till 11 a.m. But I'm on at 10 a.m. For Men's Talk. We talk about different topics. It's not so much addiction and stuff like that. But
And is
yeah,
that your own show or?
it's part of Feel Good Factor TV. There's three of us. I'm the lead host, and there's we're all three different men, different backgrounds, different journeys, but we just want to help. We just want to help
Sky
people.
TV?
So,
That's incredible. Absolutely
yeah,
incredible.
man. And I've got my own radio show as well. But look, hook me up, and I can
Yeah,
give you all the
definitely.
details on my Facebook. And
And what's your YouTube channel?
YouTube. Well, this is at the moment. It's under Spirituality Gone Wild. So it's the same.
Spirituality
I think you
Wild,
came with
okay.
Spirituality. If you didn't, just go to Spirituality Gone Wild, and all my YouTube videos are there. But a lot of them on my WhatsApp. Sorry, on my website, and also my Facebook pages. So you can find everything that I've done on all these pages as well.
Right. Well, I've wrote your YouTube down and your email, and I'll definitely check those out. Thank you very much, Saf.
Brilliant, Dan. If there's anything I can do, please reach out. I'm here to help. All right, bud.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day. Cheers.
Bye bye now.
Bye. Hi.
Hey,
Okay.
look at you, healing people, saving lives.
Thank you.
You know, that's why we're here, right?
That's it, man. It was great to chat to those two gentlemen, and hopefully they reach out. And anyone else who wants to reach out, you know, we're here to serve and try and help you guys. All right?
Absolutely. Me too. We are here to serve. Whatever you need from us, we'll be here. This helps us as much as it helps you. Trust me. We're
Definitely.
here for a reason. Well, Saf, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Kristen. It's been a pleasure, and you know what? One love. Thank you very much.
Mwah.
Okay.
I think you have control of the broadcast over there, I think. So.
Oh yeah. hey, I don't mind being in control. Eh? We could be
I
here
don't
for
know,
another.
the whole thing just shut off. My internet, everything.
We could be here for another 45 minutes if I wanted to, but I wouldn't do that. Thank you very much. Do you want me to play your outro? Is there an outro you want to do?
You know what? It's letting me for some reason. I think it's loud. It's gonna let me. Wow, I did not realize it let people do that. That's probably not a good thing.
Probably not. Okay.
All right,
Shall I-
Saf. So keep in touch. I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
I'm sure you will, man. Stay in touch. All right. It'd be, thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.